Good morning, happy Friday. Yeah, because of what I wanted to talk about this morning, I picked this shirt because Savage Race. Sometimes it seems like life is a savage race, but I don't know if you can see. Apparently, for green screen, this isn't the best color to wear. But you know what? It is what it is. Until it ain't, I'm not going to change it. So I was thinking this morning about some of the stuff I said. I realized for me, repetition works. It's like practice. Quote I used many years ago, and my son, when he was younger, he repeated the quote later, and I was kind of surprised. It was something to the effect that what was once difficult is now easy with practice. Practice, repetition, whatever, doing something over and over, hearing something over and over. A lot of times we want to gravitate to answers, right? What is the answer? And again, it goes with what I said the other day. In the moment, what works in that moment may not work in the next moment. It might not mean the exact same thing. And I did a video the other day saying how, not why. And typically, when you're wanting to accomplish something, it's don't worry about the how. So, and I'm just using this from my own experience when I listen, when I'm learning, because I've spent a lot of time and a lot of money in different programs trying to learn stuff. Like, I just want to do this. I'm the type that jumps in with both feet. I'll hem haw, but then I just go, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But that's just me. I'm kind of a hands-on, gotta learn as I go. But my point is that some of it worked in certain situations, and it was figuring out that was what became tricky for me, was to figure out what worked where and when. So one of these days I'm going to come up with a flow chart with situation. Does it do this? Yes. It's because that's what we used in the military for troubleshooting. As I did electronics, it was like, does the green light come on? Yes. Then do this step. No. Then do this step. Then does the meter read 5.24 volts? Yes. Then do this. It's kind of like a cheat sheet for life. But I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. And I had an analogy in a story, but I don't know if I made it clear in the video the other day. How, not why. It's when you're asking. It's when you're asking, when you're trying to figure something out. Don't sit there and say, why is this happening to me? Why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? That's not the right question. Do you really want to know why? Does it matter? It might give you some comfort, but you need to know how. How do I get motivated? How do I move forward? How do I get the money? How do I get the partner? Not why don't I have it? So then that's it. If you don't have something, that's the first step, okay? And then the next step is where I'm at, and I'm going to be vulnerable. This is another thing that what I found challenging is, people that share their stories and put their business out there. Some people like it, some people don't. Can't please everybody, right? So if it resonates with you, fine. If you don't, maybe it will if you stick around, if you're going to listen. Because the story that comes to my mind real quick is the military. When I went in the Army, I knew a lot about the Army because my dad was, lifetime military. So I knew a lot of the behind the scenes. Of course, I didn't know the behind the scenes of boot camp and stuff. But I used to get in trouble for laughing because these guys were like, "Oh my God, all I gotta do push-ups." I'm like, "What are they gonna do? Kill you?" But then I got to see, the drill instructors had to be drill instructors. It's kind of like being parents, and it's funny because I have a whole nother story. Having the conversation with my kids now. They're telling me things that they did that I didn't know, and you would have been upset. I was like, listen, there's a part of being a parent where I have to be a parent. I have to. For me, there were certain things I had to do, just like a drill instructor in the military. There's certain things I have to do, but when that's done, once that job is done and you're over here, it's like, I'll talk to you differently. You're a recruit, you're in the boot camp. I got to treat you this way, but somebody that's out of boot camp and doing in their MOS or whatever at their duty station, they're gonna act different. And I realized they were people. And so to be able to see behind the scenes, it's like when people put movie stars or like that up on pedestals, and they're just people. We're all just people, and so I don't know. That might sound like I'm wrong. Anyway, I just want to be transparent. It's like Facebook Fabulous. Good example. You see a lot of people, "Oh, I love my honey, oh, blah, blah, blah." And then, you know them in real life, and you go see them, and you're like, man, they're always arguing. Now, that's where I had this discussion. Man, me and Bama talked about a lot. Ignorance is bliss, right? If I don't know that you're having trouble, I'm just going to see the good, because that helps me. You having issues behind the scenes doesn't affect me negatively. So that's okay. That's where ignorance is bliss. I don't need to know the bad stuff that's going on. But if you're trying to grow, learn, and get honest, it's like in business stuff, everybody's like, "Oh, this is great, this is great." They don't tell you about the failures. They don't point out the stuff that took them to get there. So anyway, just being transparent. As you know, I am single. I'm looking for someone. Let me take that back. I am attracting my partner. I'm just going through the process. Now again, this is going back to. I know I jump around sometimes. This is going back to not worrying about the how. Right? I will meet someone. Whether it's online, whether it's in person, whether it's at the gym, whether it's at the grocery store, my last and forever partner may live right down the road. They may live across the country. I don't know. I'm not going to put the stipulation on that. Now, what I do know is what I prefer, right? The process, I'm not going to go to the gym and try and use any pickup lines. But am I going to say, I'm not going to pick anybody up at the gym? Who knows, right? I'm not going to squelch that possibility, but I'm not going to keep my mind, closed to it. Here's an example. The other day at the gym, this girl tells me I have nice calves. Blew me away. It humbled me. I go to Planet Fitness, and my Planet Fitness is very low key. It's very quiet. If somebody's having a conversation, you can hear it in the whole damn gym. Did I think she was hitting on me? No. Did I think, okay, this could have potential? Sure. But it wasn't like I pursued her and followed her around the gym, or, it happened. It was there. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll be at the checkout counter together, buying something, or maybe we'll be in the black spot area where it's quiet and you can have a conversation. I don't know. But it's not the how, right? I'm not going to sit there and say, "Oh, it's impossible to pick up people at the grocery store." For example, I'm online with two apps. Don't spend a lot of time on it. I'm not emotionally attached to it. Whatever happens, happens. And I told the girl, she contacted me and said she hadn't had any luck. She didn't really like the process, and I was like, I'm just having fun and enjoying the journey. Whatever, it is what it is. And just for whatever it's worth, I used to dislike that phrase, but it is what it is right now, right? I'm single. That it is what it is. And then my nephew likes to say, it is what it is until it ain't, right? I like to say it is what it is, but it's not what it's going to be, because I'm not going to be single forever. So, those two are the same thing. Whether she responds back, whether she doesn't, I approach it, and I mention this because I use the same approach in life, period. I have found that just being in the moment, understanding the moment, being yourself, that's all you can do, is be yourself. And that's why I always say, meditate, take time, be aware. You have to be aware. You have to observe the observer. You have to be aware of what you think and say, because sometimes we think and say things that we shouldn't. And you get to a point. Where's my stick? I thought about that this morning. I wasn't going to go that long. And again, I was having this conversation with my nephew. I think everyone is inherently good, right? You can't see the whole thing. And I think I mentioned this in a video. It's not that people are bad, they do bad things. They're not bad or good, they're just people. We all have the potential to do bad and be good. But once you get to a certain point where you're happy, positive, and it makes it harder to go to an extreme to be negative. And I've experienced this not too long ago, where someone was extremely nice, and then the next day they were saying extremely nasty, ugly things. So did I hold that against them? Do I think they're a bad person? No. But there is something going on that you can go from one end to the other. And this is just a representation of negative 10. It goes to infinity, right? There's some really, really nasty, mean things going on in the world. People doing mean, bad things. And there's some people that are doing like super great things. So I find myself more over here somewhere. And going maybe down to here sometimes. But when you have the potential, I'll give you an example. Dr. Wayne Dyer wrote a book many years ago, one of his earlier books, and he said, if you have a problem at a store, don't ask a clerk, because a clerk is a jerk. And he was just trying to rhyme, and what he meant was, a clerk can't help you. You need to go see the manager. Well, a lot of people blasted him. And years later, and he apologized for that immediately, but years later he wrote, he's at a point, because he was around here somewhere. But now as he grew, he was over here, and he couldn't go all the way back down here, so that was something that he couldn't say or do. All right, well, I had the intention of coming on and just sharing one specific thing. It's just, again, I just wanted to reemphasize being in the moment, enjoying the process, whatever it is you're doing. And I use the example of me dating right now, because I'm not emotionally tested. I'm not out there looking for it. I'll give you an example. For that, the movie The Secret. If you've seen it, a lot of people don't watch because, I love Jackson, so you just think. No. It very specifically says in the movie, you have to take action. And there's a part where a girl's sitting in the sand watching some people play volleyball. It's just a couple of people. And she's watching, and, she's like, that looks like fun. It looks like there's a couple of girls and a guy. It's like, they must be together. And the volleyball comes over to her. So, she grabs it and throws it back to him. And then there's like a coffee shop nearby, and he's like, hey, come with us. Now, at that point, she could have just sat there and said, nah, no. Or she gets up and goes, and then she meets, maybe they were a match, maybe they weren't. But you have to take that action, right? So it's being open to, it's not going and looking for something intentionally, but being open to it, whatever it is. Now I share the dating process because this channel, this forum, Ron's Choice, is more about happiness, being happy with you. Now I will go more specifics because this applies to your health. It applies to your business. If you're trying to make money, your job, these same philosophies, these core fundamentals that I'm talking about, that I use, is being in the moment when someone's talking to you, understanding what that is. Like with weight loss, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff out there, right? Do these kind of exercises, eat this, don't eat that. That you can find a contradiction to everything out there. Eat meat, don't eat meat. Eat carbs, don't eat carbs. Everything, right? You have to find what works for you. You have to be in the moment. What works in this moment, right? Because if you're training for a savage race, then you're going to eat differently than if you're just sitting around being sedentary and not doing anything, or if it's recovery afterwards. It's what's going on in that moment. And when you're trying to get somewhere, you have to take steps. You have to make your own plan. You have to have how you plan on getting there, but don't be attached to it. Don't say this is the only way to find a partner, to get a job, to get a raise, to lose weight. Be open to, because I've said, be aware. I am aware of my thoughts, my feelings, my expectations, right? What does that mean? Expectations. A lot of times we go do something, we expect to have failure. If I do this, it's just not going to work. Well, okay. Your wish is my command. So anyway, be aware of your thoughts. What am I thinking? How am I feeling? How does it make me feel? Does it make me feel good? Am I expecting good results? And then you take inspired action. Someone asked me, what is inspired action? Inspired, in spirit. Once you get your thoughts and your feelings and your expectations, your belief, your faith, what you believe you're going to get, right? Then synchronicity will start to happen. Is it always synchronicity? No. Sometimes it seems like it. But that's why you have to be aware. What am I looking for? How do I want to feel? And then you'll know, I should take this action. And until you get good at it, good at first. We all have psychic ability. We all have intuition. Some of it's better than others. And it takes practice, right? So you take what feels like inspired action, and then once you get to going in that direction, you say, okay, this feels good. You keep going. And you say, I don't know, this just doesn't feel right. And then you have to, go back, observe the observer. Why am I feeling this way? Is it stuff from the past? Is it because of past failures? Or, what's going on there? So you have to take that time for yourself.